My mum wasn't a professional artist. She might have had a few lessons at school like me, but she tackled a picture of Robbie Burns and was so pleased with the results that she had his picture in her bedroom wall for many years. I'm not quite sure where that picture is right now. I might try and find it. But I was so impressed of what she achieved just by tackling it and having a go, that when I saw this leaflet that had this picture of Robbie Burns on, I thought of my mum, and I thought, if my mum can do it, I'm going to see if I can have a go. I've got the Android Samsung Galaxy phone, and I took a photograph of this, and I used this technique and then used the photo editor with the phone and used the grid technique. And I'm going to show you in this video where I went wrong with Robbie Burns, Robbie Williams and Caroline Aherne. And I just want to give you a little bit of a giggle. Right, so the first thing I did, this was in my art class. I was trying to get images correct, and I was ending up with caricatures. And can you see what I did there? I was getting the faces way too long, and I wasn't sure what I was doing. I wasn't sure what I was doing wrong, but I knew it wasn't right. This picture of Robbie Burns, you actually see he is quite long, with a quite long neck, and the jacket that he's wearing does make him look longer, but he's certainly not this long. I was doing something wrong, and I realised it was the proportions, and I was using 6'9", and I needed to alter that proportion. And when I did, and I returned to do it, this is the difference that altering those proportions made. I did 6 to 7.5. So the picture, although it's a portrait picture, it's not as elongated. I did this one in graphite, and for the first time I used some graphite sticks and charcoal pencils. I was actually quite pleased with the result from that. What I don't like is I just hate the messiness of charcoal and pencils and smudging, and you end up getting smudges all over your paper. I'm going to have to go back over that again with a putty eraser and remove that. But overall, can you see the difference in altering your proportions? That just looks ridiculous. He looks like something out of Avatar to that one. So the next one that I did then, wait for a laugh with this one, I wanted to tackle a lovely photograph I found of Robin Williams. And at the time we were studying faces and hands, and I thought, oh, well, he's got quite a nice face and hands on that. But I wanted to choose pastel paper. And I think the big mistake was there's so much black. And when I look at this, I just giggle, because I said, I've done him more like he looks more like a puppet, something out of Thunderbirds. Well, they giggled at me at my art class when I said that, and I said, but you can see where I'm coming from. He just doesn't look real, does he? His face is not too bad, but because it's all black on black, it just looks like a floating head and a floating set of hands. His hands aren't too bad. They were the first time I've really looked at doing anything with hands. They're quite chunky. But all in all, that's an abject fail. The other thing with this is, although I was trying to work with some pastel paper to see whether I can get any different effects, if I was going to do him again, I certainly wouldn't draw one where there's way too much black in it. I've learnt from that mistake, and I wouldn't choose to use pastel paper because I really don't like the effects that I'm getting with that. So that's another fail. Now the next one, I found a beautiful photograph of lovely Caroline Aherne, and I did this graphite drawing of her, and I don't think I've got her likeness right. Now, I was happy that I was getting the hair and the smudging, and when you tilt it, can you see the shine I've got on the graphite on her hair there? I was pressing quite hard to get that darkness. I realised that in order to get the darkness that I wanted, I needed to use more charcoal than anything on her clothes. But something's gone wrong with not the proportions, but just the likeness. And she's got quite a wry smile, and I've not quite captured that. And what I'm thinking might be wrong here is I chose a photograph of her that I thought was lovely, and I wanted to paint that as if I was looking at a friend. But it's not, there's nothing about it that makes her instantly recognisable. She's not in caricature, she's not in Mrs. Merton mode, or as Denise in the royal family. Love that, don't you? Or she's not on the fast show. It was just a picture of her. And I think I've failed to capture her. If I showed this to somebody now and I say, can you tell who that is? They'd say, is that your friend? And I say, no, it's Caroline Aherne. And they can't identify with that. I think whilst I'm learning, I might need to look at what do I need to include in that portrait that makes that person more recognisable. Is it a characteristic? Is it a personality trait? Is it a character that they're playing? I love Victoria Wood, and I'm very tempted to do one of her characters, whether it would be in her own shows, whether it be in Acorn Antiques or the shows that she did with Julie Walters, whether it be her sitting at her piano or an audience with Victoria Wood. I think I will find something with her where you've got an instantly recognisable character of Victoria Wood. I'm not quite sure if I went now back to Caroline and tried to correct it. I'm not quite sure how. I just know I haven't quite done it right. It might be in the smile. It might be in the eyes. I'm not sure. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm quite happy to have a good giggle and say, I don't think I got that right. Don't do what I do. I certainly won't be drawing Robin Williams in pastel paper again, because he looks like Thunderbirds Are Go. And I think I'm aware now that my proportions were wrong. And I'm happy to share with you what I got wrong so that you don't repeat what I did. Now, the reason that I put Barry Manilow on at the beginning is that Barry Manilow has a song, and it's called God Bless the 99. And it sings like, I learned more from failure than I learned from success. I learned from no thank you so much more than from yes. And I think that's what I'm learning from. And I'm happy to develop my skills from novice onwards. But I hope you've enjoyed learning from my failures as much as I'm learning from my successes. At the moment, I've got more failures than successes. But I think with a bit of encouragement and ploughing on, we'll get there, won't we? We all had to learn once. What I do know is, at the age of 66, I'm learning things that I should have learnt from my art teacher, Mr. Greenhalgh. I even remember his name, that I should have done at the age of 11. He wasn't a very good teacher, but there are some very good YouTube teachers out there. And with them, along with my art tutor, I feel I've learnt a lot since September last year. It's only June now. The academic year has just ended. And I'll be more than happy to go back to him for a new class in September for a new academic year. I think we're going to carry on with abstracts, but for now I'm carrying on with some portraits before I get back to some crafting. And I'll ask you to come back and join me again with some of my successes and failures, whether you join me on my purple couch or whether you join me at my kitchen work surfaces. I'll be glad of your company. So for now, this is Maggie, the Cheshire Crafter, saying bye for now. See you soon.